All right, guys, well, by now you have all heard the news. Nick Perry needs hand surgery. This is something we have been kind of looking for, fearing for a very long time. Either Nick Perry or Clay Matthews, or the way it's going, perhaps both here soon. Unavailable yet again and injured. So Mike McCarthy got on. He wouldn't give any rundown on the team as a whole because there are 13 guys. And his opening statement is that he's not going to get specifics on all these guys, but that they're getting healthier. And then the only specific we actually get is that Nick Perry is going to have hand surgery. So not a good situation, not happy for Packer Nation. And then shortly on the heels of that, we got the news that Jason Spriggs is going on IR to make room for Ricky Jean-Francois, recently re-signed by the Packers. And so it's kind of a 1-2 punch, and the Packers now with Cincinnati on the docket, not a perennial powerhouse or anything like that, but a recent playoff team, and a team that's kind of got their back against the wall, and now a Packers team that's got 13 guys on the injury list. Well, actually, we only have 12 now, I guess, if you're excluding the IR list, because Spriggs went to IR. And we don't really know the makeup of this team when we come up against the Bengals on Sunday. So it's disappointing. It's not very surprising somehow, because we've seen this year after year. We're toward the top in the league in injuries. The one time we were able to get Aaron Rodgers a Super Bowl, we had, 15 players on IR? Absolutely off the charts. And we lost Charles Woodson and Donald Driver and I think Sam Shields during that exact game. This is not a team that can do that kind. We can't do it the way we did in 2010. I think that's one thing I'm absolutely convinced of. And boy, that number 13 is certainly not a lucky 13. I've said for a while now, I've been watching the Bengals, kind of paying attention to what I think might happen on Sunday. And I think I talked this morning about them wanting to run the ball. I'm sure they want to run the ball, but I would not be surprised if they don't uncork it a little bit, especially if Bakhtiari can't play, depending on what Bulaga is able to do. If we still got Kyle Murphy in there at right tackle, and I was the Bengals, I would be, as offensive coordinator, I'd be getting aggressive with the Green Bay Packers defense. We aren't going to have Nick Perry. Are we going to have Mike Daniels? If we don't have Mike Daniels and we don't have Nick Perry, where's the pass rush going to come from? We're not going to have one, and that's just all there is to it in terms, historically speaking. We've seen these guys. We brought in Kyler Fackrell. We got Martinez. He got a sack against Atlanta. And we still have Clay Matthews. Who knows how long he'll be able to last in this game. I've got this sort of feeling of dread that we're going to lose him in this game, just like we did Daniels in the last, right at the beginning. There is very little pass rush that the Packers are going to be able to bring, which means we're going to have to start bringing it from the defensive backfield, which again could very well expose guys like Kevin King, who are still really getting their feet wet in the NFL. I'm very high on Kevin King. I watched him in the game. I know people want him to start, but he is a rookie nonetheless, and A.J. Green is one of those guys. He is one of those receivers. I think the best chance the Packers have has more to do with the Cincinnati Bengals offensive line than anything else. Got busy here all of a sudden. And I think even just sort of manning up, just sort of playing the game, guys like Kyler Fackrell, guys like Dean Lowry, maybe Kenny Clark can actually get some pressure. But I'm really critical of where the pressure is going to come from, because if Mike Daniels does play with that, now it's been called a hip injury, chances of re-injury, hasn't had much chance to heal. Will he be at full strength? Will he re-injure it and have to go out and then be gone for a significant portion of time? We know Nick Perry is going to be gone for a significant portion of time. And really, other than Jordy Nelson kind of expecting to come back, which we all know as of last Sunday night, that doesn't necessarily mean anything, because we all thought David Bakhtiari was going to play last Sunday. Other than Jordy, we've still got a bunch of wide receivers. You know, Devontae Adams shows up on the injury list. Jordy Nelson already there. Randall Cobb there. Ty Montgomery has had a year in which he had an ankle injury that kept him out of basically an entire season. This is not looking good. I think if it was going to happen, maybe now's the time, but because we've got the Cincinnati Bengals and then we've got the Bears. These are not, again, perennial powerhouses by any stretch of the imagination. However, we've got these guys. This will be our third game in 11 days or something like that. I forget what it is, but we go Sunday night to Sunday, so 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We got about 11 days. We're playing 3 games. And we started injured against Atlanta. All that's to say, I heard a lot around the Packers blogosphere. People, hey, and rightly so, you got to have Packer pride, right? But saying how we're going to blow out Cincinnati, they're such a bad team, they're terrible, we're going to destroy them. I'm going to tell you right now, I've got Cincinnati scoring 2 touchdowns on us, and that would be double the amount that they score, double the amount of games they've played without, basically. I've got them scoring 2 on us, and I wouldn't be surprised if this doesn't become much more of a game than most people in Packer Nation expect, especially after today's news. That said, I still think the Packers can win this one, but it's one of those things where, depending on who gets placed where, who can get back, who can't get back, and when these folks can get together, guys, our offense has not been able to click so far, really, to speak of. I look for Martellus Bennett and Ty Montgomery to really take the reins in this game. Jordy Nelson if he's out there. But our offense has not been able to click yet. It doesn't look like we're going to be 100% healthy for a long time. I mean, you're talking both tackles still on the list. You're talking 3 of the wide receivers on the list. And Randall is hurting. I think he did not participate, even though Jordy was a full participant, so that's good news. But the offense doesn't look like it's going to be playing together as a group. They didn't during the entire preseason, to speak of. And they won't be able to during the regular season for a while, it doesn't look like either. Now the defense, guys like Kevin King are going to have to step up. Guys like Devon House are going to have to step up, but without Daniels, perhaps, we don't know. And in particular, without Nick Perry, I really have to say this game is going to be much more of a challenge than we initially thought. And this is one of those games where, listen, an offense, they got 3 running backs back there, and they got A.J. Green. They don't have a whole lot more. They got Andrew Dalton, who everybody says is the absolute worst quarterback out there. Well, guess what? We've made some really bad quarterbacks look pretty good in recent years. And I'm concerned about this game, I got to say. I think that Cincinnati is going to play, they are going to play like a caged animal. And I don't know that the Packers are. I think we're going to sit back. We're going to try to protect ourselves because of the injuries. And I think to some extent we may hurt ourselves. We've seen, again, remember, this is the only team that Aaron Rodgers has not defeated before. I think Aaron Rodgers is the absolute key. I know that's kind of obvious to say, but I think in this game, he knows what the situation is. He knows what the stats are. He knows what the storylines are out there. And I think he's going to take that to heart and have a really good game. Again, like I said, Martellus Bennett, Ty Montgomery, I think also are going to be called upon early and often, and hopefully make this offense go. Between those 3, hopefully we have Jordy Nelson, because he is really the spark plug of the offense. And with that, it's going to be up to our defense to not regress. I mean, it's hard to say we held Atlanta to 34 points. But we actually held them to their average, and it was our offense that kind of gave up the ghost to some extent, giving up really 12 points by turnovers, and then the extra points, really 14. And we lost by 11, so it's hard to see the defense really taking a step forward with Daniels perhaps out and now not Nick Perry not unable to play. It's hard to see our offense really getting in sync now. Even though I think we're pretty deep at wide receiver, and if Jordy plays, I think anything's possible. But this is going to be a game in which I think we're going to want to run the ball. I'm going to swing you around. We got Buffalo Mountain behind. It's a beautiful day, by the way. Even though we've had some bad news in Packer Nation, it's a beautiful day. Football is in the air. Packers, with a chance to get back on track. We fell to the Atlanta Falcons, but guys, we can come out of this. If we can have a hard-fought couple of victories here, we can be looking at 3-1. maybe by then get some guys healthy, find out what happens with Nick Perry. We're not going to know anything till the surgery's done, and I think we're going to kind of be kept in the dark. We know how that goes. We've been there and done that as Packer fans, without a doubt. Check it out. Golf ball. I find a million of them right here. There's a lot of bad golfers in this town, apparently. But we know how this goes. If any team can handle it, it's us, but it's disappointing. And I do think it makes the game against Cincinnati that much more interesting. Like I say, I've been confident in a Packers win. I still am. I think we grit this out. I think we're the team to be able to overcome these kinds of situations because we've just done it year in and year out. We've done it since 2010, and I think we'll do it again. But as far as how bad the Bengals are, I think we got to be really careful because when they come into town, they know what's on the line. I mean, if they go 0-3, that's basically dropping an entire quarter of football. They can't do that. And I know there's been topics bandied about how bad their coach is, how bad Dalton is. Well, I remember what Dalton did way back in the Rose Bowl days, and I'd hate to see that happen again. So the main thing is, it's kind of a next man up situation. We know the next man up is next for a reason, though. And this is not going to be a full-fledged Packer team, I don't think. Not in the sense that we want it to be. So we get out there, we grit out a win at home, and we see what we can do. There's going to be guys, I think, that we're going to need to rest. Jordy Nelson's one of them on my list that we're going to really need to rest because Thursday's coming right back again. But we'll see how the coaching staff decides to handle that. And for the most part, the important thing is find a way to win. I think Cincinnati scores more than most people expect, but I think the Packers get a win. All right, well, that's going to do it for me today. I just wanted to jump on because we had the bad news today, the Nick Perry again. I've heard the glass bones description bandied about in a million places today, and it's hard to resist. We knew that this was the history the guy had, and geez, it sure reared its ugly head fast, just 2 weeks into the season. So we still have a chance to get healthy by the end of the season. It's just hard to imagine that that's going to happen with the way we began. So, but we'll see how it plays out. It's a collision sport. These things happen, and there's no excuses. We just got to go out there and get a win. All right, guys, I will talk to you again next time on the Out of Breath Arm Store Packer Minute. Go Pack.
Packer Nation worldwide.